Welcome to the RSI Trade of the Day. My name is Benjamin Poole, head trader here at Verified Investing, and I'm going to go over a couple different charts with you guys. On Friday, there was quite a bit of price action. There were a lot of stocks that were down 7, 8, 9, 10%, but then there were some stocks that were, especially in the quantum realm, that were just going crazy. Some of them have already had a pullback. Some of them are looking to gain additional momentum. And so we're going to go ahead and dive into those charts to kind of show you what I'm seeing in those particular trades. First thing I want to do is I want to go over DocuSign. So DocuSign ended up hitting our level on Wednesday, but that wasn't until after the lunchtime hour. And when I give you guys the RSI trades of the day, I like the trades to hit by 11, but no later than 12 o'clock. The reason that I don't like it to go on too long is the longer we go, the less momentum a stock can have, the less bounces that we can have in the markets as well. So DocuSign ended up hitting our levels and then flushing through. Now, had you held on to it until today, it would actually be up. But I'm going to go ahead and go over that trade with you. So let's do the RSI recap. So here is that chart of DocuSign. Here we go. So DocuSign, my level was $69.23 on Wednesday. It got down to as low as $69.82. And then you had a sizable bounce. So I was looking for about a 2 to 3% bounce, but it hit $69.82. And this happened pretty early in the day. I saw this as a sign of, hey, because it got this low, it got this close to our entry price, 50 cents of our entry price. Now it's off the table. And then it started to slowly fade away. And then by 11:30, it finally got into that level. But if you notice the RSI never got too big of bounces, slow fade in the price action, continued down movement in the RSI, and then it hit our level, and then it faded a little bit more. You go to the daily time frame on DocuSign, and then here's that upsloping trend line connected this low pivot, and it ended up piercing that and closing below it on Thursday before we got an eventual bounce. But this is the problem with sometimes with day trading is your levels can be pretty good, but they can miss it by 50 cents, and then price action ends up heading through those levels. That's why you go to also a daily time frame if you're looking for a swing trade. And then on the daily time frame on the RSI, I was mentioning it was getting pretty low. So below the 30 into some strong support. So this could be a swing trade as well. All right. So that was off the table. It didn't end up hitting and triggering our take profit. So that, again, I still like this for a swing trade, upsloping trend line, third hit of this trend line. And so it does favor a continued move to the upside, especially after that huge sell-off. All right, another one, SanDisk, I was mentioning the other day. So there was a couple different things that I was noticing. You had this topping tail, and I said, okay, so now if it gets up to $117.47 or somewhere in that area, this is where professional traders like to get into a trade. And so I took this topping tail. The RSI is overextended. Topping tail was in play. So a retrace is $116.43. And I said, any stop out on this trade is any close above the top end of this topping tail, which is $120.66. It ended up closing above that. And so you would have been stopped out of this trade. And here's the reason why you choose a 50% retracement. You're minimizing your risk. Now it's above that even more so, and you just minimized additional risk. So you got in here, you would be 15% out of the money had you not stopped out on a daily closing basis. And that's not fun, being in a trade when you're stuck 15% out of the money when this is supposed to be a day trade. Still has this negative RSI divergence on the daily time frame. Put in another topping tail, and so you could rinse and repeat. So what you do is you take this fib extension, take it from the wick, go to the tail. Your 50% retracement is $131.88. So that is where you would enter. Here in the pre-market is $135.37. And so it's already past that level. It's getting into the 886 fib retracement. And again, your stop out on a daily closing basis would be any close above $137.05. So on a daily time frame, I still think this is overbought. This is due for a pullback. My first shortable level for a day trade is a pierce of $140. So this is where I'd set up for a day trade. If you're getting a swing trade, you could start here at this pre-market $135.37 and basically give yourself an opportunity to swing trade this right now, just in case it never hits $140. All right, XLF I'd mentioned is also creating this nice negative divergence on the RSI. Usually I take divergences from the 70 and above. However, still price action is heading higher. The RSI is heading lower. And so if we can get a break of this upsloping trend line, then I think XLF or the financial sector, select sector in the S&P 500 has more potential downside. All right, Archer Aviation. Actually, let's just go into the trade of the day. I'm going to show you HIMS. It's got a great. So I'm going to go over the HIMS chart. HIMS actually had a nice sell-off on Friday. And I was actually anticipating a little bit more of a sell-off into today's section, but we're getting a little bit of a bid. So it does have this nice wedge pattern that HIMS is setting up. So if we can get a break to the upside, we have another 30%. And I'm going to show you what I'm seeing in the charts. So here's the chart of HIMS. So nice, real nice sell-off on Friday's session. It didn't actually start happening until like the 11 o'clock time frame. You had this nice rollover in not only the price action, but also the RSI. It started breaking some pivots when the RSI was hitting around the 30. This gave me more indication that there was continual further downside. And let's go to the daily time frame on the HIMS chart. So if we can get down to $47.81, this is my RSI trade of the day. I would go long $47.81. Now look at where the RSI is. RSI is below the 50. We've got a pretty strong stock in the HIMS chart. So we've also got this downsloping trend line, not overbought, not oversold. However, you've got this upward momentum. So if we can break this downsloping trend line, we're going to hit this double top right here at $70 and could even hit the all-time high at $72.98 before we're getting a pretty significant pullback. So ultimately, not only this is a good day trade, but I also like this for a potential swing trade. Again, if we can get it down to $47.81, that is my RSI trade of the day. As far as the swing trade goes, you could start at a pierce of $50 and then dollar cost average at this upsloping trend line. If you want, if it did hit this $45 level, that's about a 5.5, 10% pullback, about a 10% move to the downside. Add to this, just knowing that this is the third hit of the upsloping trend line, which actually favors a pretty sizable bounce. So that's my RSI trade of the day. I've got a couple other charts I wanted to show you, but I didn't. I wanted to make sure that I got the RSI trade of the day out of the way for you guys. And I would be looking for a 3 to 5% bounce in the HIMS chart if we can get a nice drop in this in the pre-market or during the market hours. So 15-minute closing basis. If at any time on a 15-minute candle it closes below our entry price before getting to our target, that's our stop out. And if it doesn't hit by noon, I'm not interested in this trade either. So there are some specifications that I'm looking for when I'm entering trades and when I'm putting my stop outs. All right, so let's go ahead and go into one more chart for you guys. So Archer Aviations. Archer Aviations had this beautiful move to the upside. Look at this RSI. It never got below the 70 until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But the RSI headed really high. Price action did come in. You actually had a pretty sizable drop, about a 5%. But the fact that the RSI couldn't get below 30, that tells me that there's still a lot of buying pressure in Archer Aviation. And then you had this nice float up in the markets, finally took out this high of the day. RSI headed above 70, and then we just continued higher. Look at this. It's up to $12.25 in the pre-market. So you go to the daily time frame on Archer Aviation. $12.54 is going to be your first level of resistance. So you've got this red bar candle. So this was the opening candle of, or the opening price of this red bar candle before this decent sell-off. Look at this sell-off. It was about a 10% pullback. So when price action gets back up into this level, even though it has already gotten up to that level once, there's still going to be a significant resistance at $12.54. Now, if you are a bull, this is the line in the sand that you need to get above, and then you can get up to the $13.37. This is going to be a day tradable level. If it can get up there today, I will short this. It has to get up there by, again, 11:30, or else I'm not interested. But if it gets up to this $13.37 on a daily time frame in the pre-market or in the opening session, that's my shortable level. Swing trade, I still think Archer Aviation has a lot further upside to go. Could be putting this nice U pattern, basically a cup and handle. So what you'll want is consolidation between $13.37 and $12.54. Consolidation over a couple days, and then Archer Aviation's ACHR has a much higher move to go. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to the RSI Trade of the Day. Again, my name is Benjamin Poole. If you guys like what you guys are seeing, please make sure and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and then make sure you ring that bell so you can get notified every morning the market is open, 8:45. And then Gareth Soloway is going to be going live in less than 4 minutes on my trading game plan. You guys don't want to miss this. He's got some great insights into OpenAI and AMD mergers, give you guys some solid levels so you guys can get some trades for today as well. So you guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.